Okay, everybody, we are out here in the garage. I was asked by a subscriber to be a little bit more informative on exactly what I am doing. Number one thing is I am not a professional in any way, shape, or form. I have been blessed in life to know enough to hurt myself, probably. And I have done a lot of this work. I've been very fortunate that way, and I've been surrounded by very, very good people. What this little thing here is, just to give you an idea, I'd mentioned yesterday about cleaning out the lifter holes. This is just a little wire brush thing. You can get these at Harbor Freight. They're not very expensive. This one I had whenever I worked in a garage, and yes, I did work in a garage and was a confirmed mechanic, or whatever you call it. And what I'm doing is just making sure everything is as clean as I can possibly make this engine. I am planning on making a little bit of horsepower with it. I don't think it's actually going to be anything crazy. I'm hoping to be around 400 horse. Whether or not we make that mark, I cannot answer that question. I'm going to do my best that I can to get there, because like I have said in the past, I would like to get at the very least a mid-12 out of this car at the track, which that is not the only reason I am working on this car. This is not just to go to the drag track. I will drive this car whenever the weather is nice. I will be driving it as much as I possibly can. I just love the car and love driving it. The other thing that I will be doing in the cleaning process of this motor is every one of the bolt holes. Every single one of them. All the oil pan, all the front cover, everything on the back. I will run a tap through everything and make sure that they are clean. If you do that in these situations, it just saves you an awful lot of unnecessary grief. And a cheap tap and die set, again, is just not that much. And it can truly save you a lot of grief when you're putting head bolts in, or the front timing cover on the oil pan. I'm actually going to put on studs on my oil pan. I'm putting stainless studs on there just because it's my preference. It's the way that I want to go with it. And there'll be a lot of other things that I do with stainless bolts. The intake, most likely the front timing cover. As much as I can do in stainless, I will. And I will put some anti-seize on a lot of it, because a lot of times what you get into with aluminum and any kind of steel, the corrosion will rot it. They just don't like to mix with each other. I have always had better luck with stainless. Now, I can't get stainless head bolts. I will put a teensy little bit of anti-seize on the head bolts just to help out. I believe that that'll help in that area and will not hurt me in any way, shape, or form as far as getting the proper torque done on the heads. That's just my belief. I've had good luck in that area in my time. And I try to think everything through as good as what my knowledge allows me to do. And like I say, I really want to enjoy the car. So having, hopefully doing everything right, will give me a dependable engine that I can still have a bunch of fun with, and that is my goal. And we're having good luck. I'm catching some guff from little brother, because it is no longer a stock bottom end, because I'm putting Keith Black pistons in it, and it'll have an Anderson cam. I call them retrofit lifters. They are a bar lifter, because this does not have the plates, which I could probably drill this and tap it, and put the plates in and the other style lifters, but I already have those, so that's what I'm going to use. One of my bigger holdups will be is I can't get push rods until I get everything put together, and I have a tool for measuring the push rods, and I'll measure them, and then I have to take the length off of that and then order what I want. And that usually only takes a couple of days from the place that I'm going to order them from. And let me get busy here. I will try to get some close-up shots of everything. I think I have a clip in there of the cylinders. They turned out lovely. I have no ridge left. They look beautiful. They mic'd out good enough for me. There are engine builders out there that would say, no, it ain't good enough. I will find out. I'll let you know. We'll find out. And stuff like that has a tendency, it'll show you if it ain't happy. And I think that it will be just fine. And they look real nice, so I am very happy. I go for what I can look and feel from what I have done doing this kind of work. And I've actually done more on FE engines back in my younger day, because I always had jacked up pickups with big mud tires on them, and we would go carry on in the mud like you can't even imagine. Well, there's videos of youngsters that do it way more hardcore than what we did, I'm sure. But always had a lot of fun. I always had Ford engines, most of which they were 70s pickups. The newest one that I had would have been, I think, a 79. And I had 75s, all of which I had FE motors in them. There was either 362 or 352s, 360s, or 390s. I was never lucky enough to get one of them 429s. Always wanted one. Maybe one of these days I'll find one. Actually, this car, being it's a 68, I believe could have come, because you can put a big block in this. The earlier ones you couldn't because of the shock towers. Now, I don't know exactly how a big block fits in that hole right there. I'm sure it would take all of that hole. I'm pretty sure of that, actually. All right, let me do a little bit of work, and I will get back with you guys. Another little thing, before I forget, don't ever break a tap off in one of these little holes. Huge mistake. In the event that you would do something like that, ask me how I know. They are brutal to try to drill them out. Just go ahead and take my word for that. You really want to go and be ginger and gentle with stuff like that. It can cause you an ample amount of grief. Huge, huge amounts of grief, actually. And I'll show you some pictures of what I'm doing here in just a little bit. Just so that any younger ones that might be watching this might know, all of this little bit of cleaning, very time consuming, yes. Can save you a lot in the end whenever you start going back together with an engine or anything like that, because of it's virtually you're making yourself a brand new canvas to work with, so to speak. And cleaning out all these little holes, they always get a little bit of grease in there, oil, leftover dirt, whatever you can imagine that gets in there, and it can be a little bit of a bugger. Now, if you take the time to do all this little stuff, when you're going back together, it just makes it so nice putting everything back together. And all I'm doing now is I'm using a little tap, doing all these are 5/16 holes. I'll do them first. I have a couple 1/4 inch up here that go on the cam plate, and I'll do those as well. And then I'll do all of the I'll do all the oil pan bolts. That'll be next. I've been working on the lifter holes. They're coming real nice with that tool right there, just spinning it in there, running it in and out, and using brake clean or carburetor cleaner, whichever one I bought. They're both the same. and work the same, really. I showed, I think in an earlier video, I acid washed this block, which it worked real well. Should not have to do that again. The only thing that I may end up doing to help get rid of some of the oil is ether. I use ether. It's quick. It'll dry extremely fast, and that'll get me all ready to paint the engine. I'll go in and get some masking tape and Ford Blue, of course, and get everything taped off that I don't want no paint on or any kind of interruptions in that way, and paint it all up real nice. And then from that point on, it will be going together. And once we get the engine all buttoned up, sewed up, put together, it won't have oil in it, but it'll be sealed up so that it's protected from oxygen. Then I'll start on the engine bay, cleaning it out and getting it all ready, and try to put some paint. I think I seen there's another fella that has a YouTube channel. He sells some stuff on his site that helps with rust. And this car does not have a lot of rust on it, but it does have rust. And I want to try to get it treated, hopefully, so that I don't have to worry about it, because as long as I'm alive, and it'll never see bad weather, it'll never be outside the garage other than in the nice weather. And let me get back at it here. I just wanted to pass that on to you. It's about cleaning the holes, how important it is, and I'll bring you over for some views of what I got going on in a little bit here. I'm going to try this one-handed. The last hole, I don't know if you can see it there or not, but you see that right there? That's all the goop that came out of that one hole. Right there. That is just to give you an idea of how important this actually is. And I have this old tool here that I use. I just stick a screwdriver in the end of it, run it in. I already sprayed some goop in there, and I just work it in and out. Try to make sure that the threads are real nice and clean for going back together. That one was not that bad. Some of them naturally are worse than others, and this one was not real bad. But it is really that easy. These tools are very important for putting anything together that needs a little finesse, so to speak. Give me a minute here, I gotta use both hands. Alright, we got that tightened back up. Let's run this one in. Got one more to do in this series. This is all for the timing cover. And really all we're doing is cleaning the holes. That's it. That's what we're after. We want them nice and clean so that we can hopefully not have any grief tearing the old thing or putting the thing back together. That would be lovely. Try to take all the steps that we can to get it as right as we can get it. Like I say, I already sprayed PB in there. That helps with the cleaning. And then I'll have to fire the air compressor up here and blow all the holes out. And we'll clean them out with brake clean there as well. And that one seems real good as well. So, I hope I'm holding this right and you can get a little bit of a view on what I'm doing. But that is all of those ones for, and you can kind of see the goop coming out of that. So those are all clean now. We'll blow them out real good with air. And we got a couple more to do. These ones here are a different size. They're 1/4 inch. I'll do the lockdown bolt for the distributor as well. And then we will start on I'll have to clean that off a little bit first. Okay, I just wanted to show you a little bit of that. Show you the holes. They'll be the rest of the way cleaned out here shortly. And I don't know if you can see in there, I gotta clean the cam bushing holders. I will show you this. Someone said about not being able to see what I was talking about. This is one of the cam bushings. Can I focus on that? They were absolutely shot. Which, I think if you watched the earlier videos, the cam was in very, very bad shape. This would be part of the reason why. Those bushings are absolute, just wore completely out. The other thing about cam bushings is when you're putting them in, there's oil holes in here. You want to make sure that that hole right there where my middle finger's at lines up with that hole. That would be a very bad problem in the event that it doesn't, which is what happened to that motor over there. The center cam bushing, they did not put it in correctly. Caused a lot of grief. All right, I'll be back with you. Got one of them fancy, how do you do, engine lifting thing. You know, the thing, it bolts on top of the intake there and you pick the motor up with it. Got one. That's pretty nifty. Pretty excited about that one. Also got a transmission cooler. We're gonna need it, I'm afraid. But, still cleaning holes out. I did want to mention to anyone that may not know, on Ford, small block Ford, your front bolts that would bolt your oil pan on, 4 of those bolts are involved with the timing cover. 2 of the bolts in the back are a different size. You got 1/4 inch and 5/16 back here. It would be a bad idea to try to run the wrong tap if you catch my drift in one of them holes. Just for anybody that doesn't know, I don't know if Chevrolet has that or not. I can't mind right now. I think they actually do. But their timing cover, unless they have a new one that you can take off without pulling the oil pan. But that one, like on my son's engine, it is a pain in the butt to monkey around with that thing. And I'll most likely be working on it whenever the weather breaks. And because we help each other out. The one I pick on all the time, Team Chevy over there, he helps me just as much as I help him. We had the transmission out of Henrietta this past year, I think 3 times. Well, he had his out of it. We're both banging gears. That 4th gen Camaro's got a 5-speed in it. I can't remember. He had a bunch of grief with it, and I can't even mind what it was. Something with the clutch linkage. However, that clutch linkage was made was not working out, and they had to cut it, move it, and re-weld it to get it to actually work for them. And it's a hydraulic clutch in that car. I hate hydraulic clutches. I personally prefer linkage and cables. And there's a lot of different arguments on that. That's what works for me. Linkage and cables. The hydraulic, I have one, I bought a new pickup one time, Ford pickup. It had a hydraulic clutch in it, the biggest hunk of crap I ever seen in my life. It did not have it for long until I made my own linkage for it. But alrighty, I am still cleaning poles out here. Be back with you here shortly. One of the other reasons why I'm showing these videos here is for any younger guys working on a real tight budget. This stuff all works. It's all old school stuff. If you can't afford to go to a machine shop, and nowadays, good Lord Almighty, when you go to the machine shop, it's hard to tell whenever you're going to get your motor back. Nothing against them guys, but they are some busy dudes. And around here, like, there's a lot of circle track guys. A lot of engine work gets done by, there is not an ample amount of machine shops around here anymore. A couple of the old cats that I knew, they're done gone. And there's one left, he's a really old dude, and he was one of the real good ones. But heck, he's like 81 years old, and he'll monkey around a little wee bit, but he don't really care for it none too much nowadays. And this stuff works. It is very, very time consuming, but it does work. You can get away with doing a lot of stuff yourself. There are some things you naturally could not do yourself. If the bores on these cylinders would have been any worse than what they were, I would have been in trouble. Not saying that you can't run the hone for the biggest part of forever and clean them up, because you can, and then hope that your rings do a good job. And I've got Hastings rings. I'm really not worried about it, and good pistons that I'm going to put in here. But I could have done that with them stock pistons as well. It's just easier doing it this way, and I'm wanting to get this engine running, and hopefully we'll have good luck. But you can do all of this work yourself. It is really, common sense goes an awful long way whenever you're doing this stuff. And being clean. Making sure that everything is clean when you are going back together. I am not opening anything until I have the area completely spotless. And then when I start putting this together, I will constantly be washing my hands and stuff. It's just the way that I was raised to do things and the way that I prefer to do them. Especially doing it in the fashion that I'm doing, not going to a machine shop and having all the, they got a lot of fancy equipment. I ain't got any of that. A couple of drills and some tools I've gathered up over the years, fortunate enough to have, and making it work on the knowledge that I have on it. Alrighty, well, enough blabbing at your face, and I'll get busy here. I got you. Who else told me to shut up other than Randy? Alright, I'm in. I'm on the job. Alright. We got a nice clean engine. A little wee bit more to do, not much. I gotta get some ether, which will help dry it out. And the bores look good. Everything is looking very, very nice. And we got all the bolt holes except the head bolts. I can't find my tap for that. No idea where it went. But we will grab another one of those and do that tomorrow. And plus hopefully paint it tomorrow. Put new frost plugs in tomorrow. Once the paint sets, then we are going to start putting her together. That should be fun. We got some nice stuff to put in it. I think I said I got some Keith Black pistons. No, I don't have any sponsors. Just in case anybody's wondering. I'm not trying to sell anything. But they are supposed to be very good pistons. Plus I got a bunch of other goodies to throw in this motor. roughly, I don't know what the actual money would be. Around, I would have to sit down and figure it out. Most of the stuff that I have, I've had for a long time, and I'm just going to get ready to use it here now. But hopefully you can see how nice and clean the motor is, and we will get the rest of it cleaned out. We have a little wee bit of cleaning to do in here, not much. I'll just go over that with some sandpaper real quick, and put the cam bushings in. Once it's painted, I'll do that, and then put frost plugs in, and then start going together with it. It should go rather nicely. Pretty stoked. Can't wait to hear it fire up. It's probably gonna say, "Watch out, Team Chevy." Be right back. All right, guys. Believe it or not, it's snowing like mad out there. Actually, it's coming in the door right there. You can't see that. Got this cleaned. Very, very happy with that. Getting pretty stoked up about it. Gonna get her covered up for the day. Tomorrow, I will be working on paint, getting it the rest of the way cleaned, and painting it. And then, if the turbo heater works good enough and dries it, we will start putting it together, at least get the cam bushings in or something. Try to do some little thing every single day. Little brother keeps on my hind end about it's no longer a stock bottom end, and blah, 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 and all the other blabbing he can do. And Team Chevy, same thing, always a bunch of blabbing. My old friend, which I had told you about before, I think I said he had a 67 Camaro. I was wrong. It was a 69 Camaro. He may be going to do something with the car. Let me emphasize may. In order to light a fire under him, it takes quite a bit. Let me put that out there. He knows who I'm talking about. I know he watches these. I'll probably catch it a little wee bit of guff about that. Now, his brother, that is the same age as me and him have both been on him hardcore to do something with that car. It has been sitting for 40 years, I think. He used to drag race the car. And I don't know, he cut something out of the back of it and put a makeshift tub in it or something. I don't know. He might be nuts. Actually, there's a really good chance that he is nuts. We will be on him pretty hardcore to do something. He bought a Fox body for his granddaughter, convertible Fox body. We will be helping him get that running correctly. When the weather gets better, it's going to be a while. Pennsylvania is being brutal this year. Don't trust the groundhog. Everybody that ain't from here and they got this big hype goes on about this freaking groundhog. The only thing they was good for was nothing. They wasn't any good for eating either. We only did that whenever I was young because we didn't have anything else to eat. You'll eat anything. As far as the car goes, we are making headway little by little. We do not have frame connectors yet or shocks. When I bought this car and took it for the first ride, the shocks are absolutely shot, completely and totally. We will be putting shocks on. I actually want a Hillborn hood scoop on here, but I don't want to cut a hole in that hood. So I may try to muster up enough money to get a hood that I don't mind cutting a hole in. Because that one I don't want to do it to. And I love the Hillborn look. That's what I have on Henrietta out there. And alright, I'll quit yakking. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. hit the thumbs up button. Leave a comment. I had people leave a comment that I wasn't quite, I didn't elaborate enough on certain things. I'm trying to change that. I'm also trying to get better with the filming thing. Stay with me. I'll do better. I just got to learn how to do it, and it's taken a while. Never really had a real high education, so it is a learning curve for me. But that being said, catch you in the next video.